with, right?
Definitely.
So
Definitely.
in the previous episodes, we have discussed that the demand is gonna come.
Yeah.
Okay, and right now, the airlines have predicted the demand and they have ordered the aircraft.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely. So time and again we have been saying that there will be a demand, right? And now is the time when there is a demand, right? Now airlines have started recruiting again. New airlines have really started getting their What's up everyone? How's it going? I hope you liked the last podcast and it was very much insightful podcast. Me and Winged Engineer, we learned a lot, many things from the same podcast. And that's what we do here. We are here to learn from Capt.Neha and whoever the guest is. Apart from that, then we share the learnings with you so that you could benefit from it as well. Okay?
Yes, and the last podcast was an inspiring one.
Definitely.
And today, as you know, we are already in the monsoon season and we are in Mumbai since the past 2 weeks. It's raining continuously.
Yep.
So I would like to ask Capt.Neha, like, how is flying different in monsoon?
Oh, in monsoon, in Mumbai, flying out of Mumbai this year is the first time I'm flying out of Mumbai. And monsoon out of Mumbai is really, always it's raining. Whenever you go, it's either drizzling or it is raining. The moment you are on the approach, sometimes all of a sudden, strong shower and the downpour comes and it just obscures the visibility completely. And then it's like, you really have to, wipers are fast and then you are using your judgment, winds are strong. So, you really have to be very, very careful sometimes. If it really obscures the visibility, you have to use your judgment to go and land. And yes, you can feel that water patches on the runway and
you
then
might
that
be
hydroplaning.
Feeling like hydroplaning.
Yes. It's a different feeling, but when you actually do it in the strong winds and you land safely, then that's where you feel that yes, you've done a good job. So
definitely. So as we were speaking this morning, that even right now, as we were speaking, that from a passenger's perspective, it is always like how soft or how smooth was the landing.
Yes.
But as we speak about pilot's perspective, primarily it needs to be a safe landing, right?
Correct.
So hydroplaning is basically a thin layer of water over runway that forms, okay, because of which the tires do not get enough traction on the runway. Okay, so traction in normal words, if we speak, would be
grip on the road or on the runway in case of
so hydroplaning is a thin layer of water between the tire and the runway surface, which technically means the aircraft is floating, okay, so which does not give the stability to tricycle landing gear, and then that is a risky situation. So for that reason, usually what is the technique that you use, like land a bit firmer? That's what
so basically if it is very soft and smooth, then that layer stays and then you don't really get the grip on the runway, and then what happens is there is a chance of skidding.
Right.
So of course there are anti-skid units in the aircraft, because we land at speeds, if you compare to the car speed. So the landing speeds are about 250 kilometer per hour to 300 kilometer per hour, which is way too fast. Now imagine you are driving on the road with water layer on the road and you are driving at that speed. Won't the car skid? It will definitely. So it has to be a proper form, and then you have to decelerate pretty faster with the highest deceleration devices like maximum reversers with the more amount of braking action. So the landing is, from passengers' point of view, if they think that only the smooth landing is the safe one, it's not that. It has to be at that particular point at that particular touchdown aiming point marker, as well as it has to be safe enough not to, skid or slip, because Mumbai is very much known for, incidents every year of the aircraft runway excursion.
Correct.
So because of such monsoon weather conditions, and that is need to be taken care of.
Yeah, then also there are so many other metrics that are needed to be considered at the time of landing, right? Such as how much is the distance available for landing, how many, like was the crosswind or headwind or the tailwind, if in case there is any.
Because now in this season the winds are very strong. So this is southwest monsoon. So if you consider Mumbai runway, which is westerly runway, so if this is the runway on which you are landing, okay, and southwesterly winds means winds are coming from here, okay. So if in case this is north for you, then winds are coming from here, which are about 20, 25
Winds are named
knots.
after where they're coming from. Okay.
Yeah. So now that's strong, and then you have already crosswind component of about more than 10, 15 knots and the rain. So both together, it's good. But that is
so
different.
would you term it
Yes.
as like landing in monsoon is challenging than other seasons?
Whenever it is raining heavily that time, yes, for sure. But otherwise, it's fine. And plus, landing in this season, because the runway is always wet and it is raining, first officer is not allowed to land. So it's only captains who have to land.
So nothing for us for quite some time, right?
In Mumbai, if you're flying out of other base, then it doesn't rain every other day like Mumbai. But first officers from Mumbai barely get to take off and land these days because of the rain and wet runway.
Yes. And lately I have been seeing there's increase in air traffic movement because of the summer holidays and stuff.
Yes.
So do you face any kind of delays when the weather is bad? So like how much would be the delay in case airport is not available to land?
So the thing is, if in case visibility obscures really bad and the pilot is not able to spot the runway all of a sudden because of the heavy downpour of the rain, in that case, if the go around happens and then other aircrafts are holding to land, then yes, of course there are delays.
Yes, because Mumbai is a busy airspace.
Yes.
Like
as well as at night, what happens is for takeoff, if the runway lights intensity is really bright, then it really blinds you.
Correct.
So
Yes.
for takeoff, you don't need the bright intensity of runway lights. They have to reduce the intensity for takeoff. Thereafter, for aircraft which are on landing, on short final, they want to see the runway. So for them to spot the runway, ATC needs to increase the brightness. So all these things, as well as the aircraft slow down really to a lower speed before they vacate. So if in case on dry runway we vacate at maximum speed of 50 knots, okay, but if it is a wet runway, then we reduce it to 30 knots before vacation.
okay.
So the speed at which the runway is being vacated, runway occupancy time, is also another challenge in rain.
Correct.
So though we use all the maximum devices for deceleration, so that's how it is. That day, Mumbai ATC said vacate runway by November 7. So I had anyways used all the deceleration and I did vacate. But then at that time, there was Airbus 380 behind me. Okay, Singapore Airbus 380. And then I said first immediately, did vacate. And then they're like, if you are not able to vacate, then we'll have to ask the Singapore to go around. Okay.
Correct.
So I was like, it's wet runway, we are decelerating, so at least let us vacate and then. So don't put that much pressure,
Definitely.
So
No, but it's also the duty of a pilot to not be pressured by external things, right? You've got to do what you've got to do, right?
Yes.
So we had some students at Sanford, Sanford, that have made 787 go around
Yes.
with a Cirrus.
So basically it's like if so whenever the student is doing a solo flight lessons, so at that time ATC does not know that this student is going solo.
Correct.
So
correct.
ATC expects us to perform
Correct.
as if we are like doing our training flight with instructor. So whenever we are flying solo, there would be a delay, I would say, because delay of not more than a minute, like 10-15 seconds delay, because we are doing everything by ourselves.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So at that time, there has been instances, like not by myself.
Yeah,
but
neither of us.
Yeah, neither of us. But yeah, so if
Not our batch.
yeah, so the like Allegiant Air was flying the Airbus A320, so they used to go around because there's a Cessna on the runway who could not vacate on time. Okay.
Yeah.
So don't be pressurized by external factors. That's what we are being taught, because safety of flight is the main.
That is one thing, but at the same time, don't be a linger on the runway.
Yeah, definitely.
You need to keep that
Yes,
thing
yes.
in mind. Yes, there are other
I mean, we
aircraft,
try our
you
best
know.
to vacate the runway, taking
Yeah.
the safety measures in mind.
Correct.
But if safety is affected, then definitely would take our time.
Yeah, so in training, usually students are forgiven for things, not something serious, not something on purpose, but such convenience things. Yeah, I mean, someone might say something, but students are usually forgiven.
Yeah.
Or maybe they might have to sometimes file a report also, which does not look good on the CV at all. But yeah, if you're alive, you can do things, right? If you're not.
So lately on the news, the media is going crazy after the vacancies for new pilots.
Yeah.
The expansion which the existing airlines are doing. So the other day I read like Air India ordering around 300 aircrafts.
Yeah.
Okay, and 50
Yes.
of them being A350 if I'm not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a huge number for
Definitely.
an airline to come up with, right?
Correct,
Definitely.
So-
Definitely.
In the previous episodes, we have discussed that the demand is gonna come.
Yeah.
Okay, and right now, the airlines have predicted the
Yeah.
demand and they have ordered the aircraft.
Yeah.
Right?
Correct.
Definitely. Definitely. So time and again we have been saying that
Yes.
there will be a demand, right? And now is the time when there is a demand, right?
Correct.
Now airlines have started recruiting again. New airlines have really started
Yes.
I mean getting their aircraft, like
Yes.
Akasa got its aircraft, right?
Yes, and they also received their permit to operate. I guess.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Yeah. So it's all real now. But now that does not mean there is no competition. There is a competition from people that have become pilots in past 2 years, right? After 2019, almost past 3 years. Yeah, so that is the competition. So yeah, anyone who's looking to become a pilot in an airline and has a CPL right now, buckle up with the full force that you can, right?
Yes, definitely.
What would be the metrics on which they need to prepare for airlines?
For airline preparation, you must need to be very thorough with all the subjects that you have studied for CPL, as well as it is a great idea if you have done your CPL, then clear your ATPL papers as well. And some people think, okay, it might lapse this and that, but there is a way in which you can go about it. So clear the papers. After clearing papers, then validity of those ATPL papers before you clear your Viva is 2 years. So within 2 years you can clear your Viva.
Correct.
And once you clear your Viva, then from that date the validity of your ATPL papers is 5 years. So you
Correct.
get almost
7 years.
7 years.
7 years, okay.
So 7 years is a very good time for you to complete your requirement. So this is my suggestion to whoever asks me, because this will give you added benefit over other students. And even nowadays I have seen some airline vacancies, they have mentioned that they require the ATPL written exams cleared.
Okay.
Like Vistara, when Vistara came up with this airline vacancy, then it was mentioned that ATPL frozen. So
Correct.
if you have papers cleared, it will give you added advantage and benefit, as well as that knowledge will definitely help you in becoming a better pilot with respect to
Correct. To be precise, frozen ATPL is the term from the Europe, right?
So there is nothing like frozen ATPL in India. But once you have cleared your papers followed by Viva, then it will be, the validity is what I just mentioned.
So basically papers cleared. That's
So basically if someone is having a CPL and he's waiting for the vacancies, so in the meanwhile he can try clearing the ATPL Viva and the papers, right? So
first papers, then Viva.
First papers and then Viva. So in that way he's preparing for the interview as well, because the technical things are going to remain the same as well, right?
Yes. Apart from that, the one who have done their flying in abroad, they have not really appeared for technical general paper.
Correct.
Yes.
So it is a good idea to study technical general for the knowledge point of view, so that they will be better off when they are appearing for the airline exams. Okay. And back then, earlier, it used to be like CPL vacancies used to be plenty. Nowadays, lot of airlines are coming up with type-rated pilot vacancies.
Correct.
CPL pilot vacancies will come, but will take some time when there is a real need, when they want mass number of pilots.
Right now, I think right now, I think the people who have experience are in demand, and airlines are hiring type-rated pilots because they don't want to spend like 3 to 4 months in training, like send them for type rating and stuff.
So whenever they want the need, then they hire the type-rated pilots, and then the abridged course doesn't take much time, and thereafter they can get hired.
Definitely. I mean, indicators of airline recovering, basically the industry recovering, right? It would be, I would say the airlines would first come up with experienced first officers, right?
Okay. Yes.
Which they claim like
That means sooner or later there will be soon a recruitment for type-rated, right? And if that comes, then that means sooner or later there will be
vacancy for CPL holders. So basically it goes in the same order, wherein if they have a huge demand, that is when they come up with CPL pilot vacancies. If the demand is there, it's moderate, then it is about then it's type-rated pilot vacancies, which are freshers. So that's how it goes, of course.
Definitely. And don't think like this is gonna last forever. Okay, it's not. Like, here's the thing. Anything that peaks goes down. Okay, anything that goes down, oftentimes, most of the times, goes up, right? So if you have seen I don't do stock market or anything, but if you have seen overall curve of the basically graph of a stock market for past 20 years, it peaks, it drops, then again it peaks, it drops, and overall the previous high would be lower than next time's high. So say in 2019, like just for an example, there were about 300 vacancies or 500 vacancies. That means potentially 2022, 2023 peak will have more vacancies than that, right?
Correct.
Because overall the industry is growing. Overall requirement of commuters, the number of commuters are increasing. So
yes, and new airlines are coming up. So I have heard there is going to be a new cargo airline in India.
Yeah, I heard about it.
And there is like Akasa, there is Jet Airways, Air India and Indigo are expanding.
Correct.
And one more factor to consider is the existing experienced pilot.
Correct.
Who will reach the retirement age in the next 2 to 3 years. So that would also add up to the vacancies. Right.
Correct.
And I have seen the American aviation industry, United and Delta. So they are cancelling certain number of flights due to pilot shortage. Consider Lufthansa. They are also cancelling flights because of pilot shortage. And in Europe there is like summer vacation. It's a summer vacation time, so people are crazy. They are traveling like crazy because after 2 years this is the time they are going on a vacation, right? And we have been to Canada recently, like last week, and we went via Lufthansa 747. So it has a capacity of around 350 to 400 passengers, right? So
747 is more, I think. Anyway, fine.
So it depends on the configuration.
Yes. Yes. So we went from Mumbai to Frankfurt and Frankfurt to Vancouver.
Correct.
So on the way from Mumbai to Frankfurt, the flight was full. From Frankfurt to Vancouver, the flight was full. So you can imagine the rush now.
Flight tickets were so expensive.
Yes, the flight tickets, like we paid how much? Like 150K
Right.
for a flight. But this trip, like 2 years ago, this trip would cost us around 70 to 80,000.
Yeah.
Correct.
But right now it costed like us 150,000.
Almost twice.
Yes.
That also goes because of like fuel prices.
Definitely.
Another thing, then most of the airlines are not flying over Russia.
Yes.
So as they are not flying over Russia, actually India has okay political relations with, I guess, I mean, I'm not making any geopolitical statement here, but India is allowed to fly over Russia. India does fly over Russia.
Yeah.
So Air India flights are cheaper than the Western airline flights right now, until these geopolitical conflicts are solved.
Yeah, right. Because of the routing is shorter, so that's why they're able to manage it in lesser time and lesser fuel.
Definitely.
Yep.
Speaking of that flight, let's talk about Canada. How did you like it? How was it? And the whole RTR thing and the Transport Canada license, and so we finally we successfully passed the RTR exam in Canada. We passed the Transport Canada exam. So technically,
that's nice. Congratulations.
So the process is straightforward.
Yeah.
Like nothing. You just have to go there.
Correct.
You have to register yourself for the RTR exam and the airlaw exam.
Correct.
And you study for the exam and give the exam.
Yeah.
So basically there are two exams to give. One is the Canadian RTR exam.
Correct.
And other is the Canadian airlaw exam.
Correct.
So the airlaw is bit different from the US and India.
Yeah.
So you have to go through each and everything.
Yeah.
And we cleared it, and it was I guess half an hour to 1 hour exam, 20 MCQ questions.
Yeah.
So after that you submit all the documents, and then within a month or two you receive your Canadian RT and the Canadian CPL. So once you get the Canadian CPL, you have to submit it to WPC. So the process is online. Yeah, so if anyone is looking forward to go through that process, they can just comment down below, or they can reach out to us on our Instagram handle.
Yeah. I mean, we'd recommend doing that for anyone who's flying from the US. While returning, do this. You don't need to enroll into any flying school in Canada. Like we have DGCA, they have Transport Canada. Okay. So all you need is a medical file number. So make sure that you have a medical file number opened by Transport Canada for you, because it takes about 2 to 3 months for your file to be opened on Transport Canada. Like we have PMR file, right? They have Transport Canada file number that will come with your class 1 medical. And once you have that, then
you also have to apply for a tourist visa.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the examiner which we went, so he will suggest us like what to do in case of how to apply for tourist visa and stuff.
Correct. So if either of you are about to finish your flying or in the middle of your flying in the US, we highly recommend getting your class 1 medical done for Transport Canada. Apply for your Canadian visa. Tourist visa. Okay, visitor visa is what it is called. And while returning back, just book a flight via either Toronto or Toronto or Vancouver. Yeah, we did it in Vancouver. Yeah, it's a beautiful place. It's really nice to be there for a week or so, and then you can be back and you have FAA license plus Transport Canada license, and as you get back and do the conversion flying, you have the DGCA Indian CPL as well, which we don't have right now, but we need to do the flying part, right?
Yep. So basically, once you are done with the process, you end up with having the FAA Canadian and the DGCA CPL. So once you progress in your career, like let's say you have 2,000, 3,000 hours, so you have plenty of opportunities.
Yeah.
As a pilot.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But speaking of opportunities, US is big in aviation, right?
Yes, it's huge.
I mean, nothing about the country, but Canada is big on general aviation. General aviation means seaplanes, small aircraft, flight training, and all of those things. It's not as big in terms of airlines, basically commercial aviation,
Commercial.
right? Like we have a
mass
big,
number is not there.
Yes,
So,
because the population plays an important role. So if you consider India has population
Correct.
of around 138 crores.
Correct.
And Canada has a population of 4 crore.
Oh,
Yeah,
is it?
yes, yeah.
Oh my
Yes.
God, okay.
Yeah, 90% of Canadian population lives within 150 miles of northern US border. So
Correct.
so they don't need as many aircraft. They
Aircrafts,
don't
correct.
and if they don't need as many aircraft, then they don't need as many pilots, right?
Correct.
So if you are planning on flying from Canada and your intention is to become an airline pilot, my opinion would be that coming back to India and getting Indian CPL would be a good option, okay? Because yes, getting a work permit in Canada is
Easy.
relatively easier than the US, okay, for pilots, but then getting a job is very difficult.
In
as a
airline,
pilot.
it's difficult. They can get a job in general aviation.
Sure.
And build 1500 hours, get their ATPL. But after that, moving into the airline is still kind of difficult because the number of vacancies in Canada is very low compared when you compare it to India.
Correct. And also the pay for general aviation pilots is not as good, is not even enough to support the expense and the loan of pilot training.
Correct.
Like the general aviation pilots in Canada would end up making about $3,000 to $4,000 a month. Okay. Which is less than $50,000 a year. And Canada, as we know, is expensive.
Expensive, and the taxes are also high.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, we are not financial advisors here.
Yes.
Here, you do what you want to do, okay? But considering aviation, India would be a better country in our opinion. Okay, so if you are planning on flying from Canada, keep that in mind. The advantage is one can work part-time, okay? But pilot training is so demanding and challenging that one hardly gets any time to work outside the studying and flying and the things.
Yes. And there's no fixed timing like university, like you go 9 to 5 to university and then you work and like later night. But like if you have night flight or if you have morning flight, then you have to adjust your day accordingly. So if you work with that schedule, it's gonna be tiring and that is not recommended.
Because we did speak to an instructor there who was working in a flight school. So pretty much you get 4 to 5 months in a year to fly.
Correct.
Rest of the time you don't fly.
It's basically the summertime, like right now.
Correct.
So right now, we requested a flight, like a backsitting a flight in his flight school. Then he was like, the schedule is full right now because it's summer.
I see.
So we weren't able to do that. Otherwise, we would have like Fleur or Vancouver.
Because they do the whole flying in 4 or 5 months, and then the rest of the year they don't fly the training flights.
Because of snowfall and
and basically Vancouver has kind of cloudy weather. 6 to 7 months. It doesn't snow that much apart from like in the month of December. It snows. Apart from that, it's just IFR weather, like next 5 months.
So weather-wise, that is a bit challenging. And weather-wise, if we speak, Florida is great, right? So
coastal.
If someone wants to, if you want to go abroad for flying, if you have thought like that, okay, US, in my opinion, would be a better place to fly from. And if not, India's great. Like India has now so many flight schools, right? And some of them are really growing at a rapid pace, right?
Correct.
Like for an example, Redbird, right?
Yes.
Redbird is big now,
Big,
right?
Correct.
And
Yes. And they have like so many training aircrafts on order as well.
Yes.
Correct.
They are expanding to various regions of India. So whatever part or whichever part you are from India, you can choose the nearest flight school.
Correct.
Yeah, they have 5 branches
Already.
now total.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So that's amazing. Like
They have 5 branches.
So yes. They
That's
have.
that's nice.
Yeah, that is in the initial phase, but the one which
Basically,
is in
how-
Baramati, that is really
Yeah.
big.
Yeah.
But the other ones are slowly growing,
Okay.
and but
Right.
there location wise, yes, there are.
Right. Basically, how US has many organized flight schools. I think I want to say that Redbird will be one
The
of
one.
the
Yes,
that
yes.
kind of the flight school
Correct,
in
correct.
India.
Correct.
Like
Yes, because I have seen like the flight school in India, there's no fixed schedule. Like we used to
Correct.
have like suppose 10 a.m. flight, we used to
Correct.
get schedule a day ahead.
correct.
Okay, and there's no concept like this in India. Like
Correct.
you have to go in the morning, like
Correct.
6-7 a.m. sit
Correct.
there,
Correct.
and whenever the aircraft is
Yeah.
available, you go
Correct.
fly.
Correct.
Okay, so in US we used to have a fixed time so that
Right.
our day would be utilized.
Correct.
And in India, you have to just go to the flight
Right.
school and sit
Right.
there.
Correct.
Like
correct,
flight
correct.
schools in the US are so organized, right?
Yes.
Like if we speak about Paris Air, right? So organized, such an organized flight school. If we speak about L3 that we flew from, right?
Yes.
Such an organized flight school, right?
And they are huge. Like they have
Yeah.
like around 50 to 100 aircrafts,
Yeah.
and they
Correct,
operate similarly like an airline.
Correct.
So if you train at those flight school
Yeah.
we have which have
Yeah.
good reputation, you get an overall understanding how an airline works.
Correct.
Correct,
Because
correct,
your
correct.
duty is just not to train as a student pilot.
Correct.
You get to meet people in the dispatch.
Definitely.
Like if
correct,
the flight is delayed, what actions do they take? You get to see
Correct,
that as
correct,
well.
Correct.
And if your flight is delayed, if your training flight is delayed for some reason, what actions do you take?
Yeah.
So you call the dispatch,
Definitely.
tell them that you are late, you will be running late by 20
Yeah, our
minutes
flight
and stuff.
school had like scheduling, flight school had
Okay.
dispatch, flight school had maintenance.
Okay.
It had
I see.
everything
I
that
see.
there
Yeah,
is.
so
amazing.
it gives you a feel like you are working for an airline.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
right,
see,
right.
whenever there is a thing, so whenever we used to go for pre-flight, okay, or there's some fault we used to find out, so we used to just call the dispatch, and then the maintenance guy would come and repair whatever is there.
Okay.
So if we are stuck at any airport, we used to give them a call, and the maintenance guy would fly his plane to us and swap the planes and go.
Right.
Okay.
So that, I mean, the whole topic of talking about this is that those are really organized flight schools.
Yeah, those are really.
And speaking of, so basically, as anything grows in numbers, there needs to be an organized structure to it, right?
Correct.
And only flight school of that size I could see in India right now is, I believe, Redbird.
Yes, definitely.
That is really big. There
Correct.
was CAE, which was big in India, right?
Before.
Before,
But now-
back in time. But right now, what I see
Yes.
is Redbird is the one.
Correct.
Also, the reason for speaking about flight schools in India is because dollar is expensive.
Yes,
Yes.
it's like 80.
We
Dollar
did
is
our
very
flight training
expensive.
between 60 to
Mhm.
65
Yeah,
rupees.
60 to 65. Maximum was 68.
8. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And within like 1.5 2 years, it's now 80.
Are
Right?
you
80.
serious?
Yes.
Crazy. That cost.
And the flight training in the US is also getting more expensive in dollars because of the fuel prices.
Right.
So,
right.
Should the fuel problem be solved, that will reduce for sure. Okay, that will definitely reduce. But
The dollar rate is
Correct.
So
True.
the increasing cost of flight training in the US in dollar currency,
Correct.
might be momentary. That won't be permanent. As soon as the fuel prices
Correct.
drop down,
Correct.
okay, definitely that price will also reduce,
Correct.
but dollar price will still be the same.
Correct.
So effective price for anyone who's planning on doing flight training in the US for an
Yes.
Indian, it would be expensive, right?
Yes, it would be
Yes, yes.
expensive by 5 to 10 lakh rupees straight up, because the dollar from like 70 to 80, there's 10 rupee increment.
Yeah.
Correct.
So, so the
That's
training
a
fees,
lot.
yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. That is
And
more
your-
than
and your expenses like your accommodation, food, everything would be in
Hmm,
dollars.
Absolutely.
So the training in US is gonna be expensive. So and India is coming up with
yeah.
great flying.
That does not mean that US doesn't have quality training. US has amazing quality training, and hopefully now even India
in
is
India has a good
Right,
quality
right.
training.
Right.
Like they are
School.
improving, right?
Yeah.
But US is certainly the
Correct,
best.
correct,
But
correct.
right now India is also improving as we move ahead in time.
Correct. Because India is growing in aviation,
Yes.
right? So when any industry is growing, the associated industries related to
Correct.
will also grow. So
Correct.
airlines in India are growing. That means the pilots are required, the cabin crew is
Correct,
required,
correct,
ground
correct,
staff is
correct,
required,
correct.
everything is
Definitely.
required, right?
Definitely.
New airports are being constructed.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yes,
that means for pilots there will be flight school, for ground staff.
Definitely.
Yeah, all of those things, right? Yeah. So yes, aviation is growing. Does not mean it's not expensive. It is super expensive.
It is.
Like it definitely is super expensive, and managing funds for it, as we
Is
spoke in
also a
the
challenge.
last podcast,
Correct,
right?
correct.
Like Capt.Neha has probably worked several jobs, dozens, right,
correct.
in order to ultimately get to the
Get
cockpit.
to the cockpit.
Like you finished your CPL in 2008 and got your first opportunity in 2014-15, right?
Correct.
So basically, the pilots who have arranged their own money, who have gone through the struggle,
Correct.
the path of that struggle
Yeah.
is like 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Like no one arranges the
Correct.
funds and becomes a pilot in like 2 to 3 years.
Right.
So they work hard,
Yeah.
they arrange the money,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
do for training. But
Definitely.
nowadays, like people have the option to seek loan from banks. Okay.
Yeah.
If they have a property, if someone doesn't have a property or something like that,
Mhm.
then the only option left for them is hard work. Like
Correct.
work hard for like 4 or 5 years, collect the money, and
Correct.
then go for their flight training.
Correct.
But also to accumulate like almost 70-80 lakh rupees in 4 or 5 years, you need to do something really remarkable.
Correct.
True,
Like
True,
it's
definitely.
not easy. Nothing is actually right. Yeah, but if you are dedicated, yeah, you can do it, right?
It's how bad you want it, right?
Right.
And I guess in today's era, the options available to make money
Mm-hmm.
are more compared to like past
Yeah,
generations.
for sure it has,
Definitely.
because see, I mean, more of the information is available easily now.
Yes.
Like people would have had to do so many things to acquire one piece of information back in time, right?
Correct.
Now it's all on the internet. I don't know. I just got a comment in last podcast that if I don't drink, if I do drink Red Bull that much, then there is a possibility of type 2 diabetes. I don't know. I mean, I drink Red Bull sugar free, but yeah. So today I'm trying without Red Bull. I'm trying to go without Red Bull, and it's hard. Like I think you can make it out from the podcast. It's really hard.
Yeah. Fighting yourself to stay awake.
Yeah, kinda. I mean, not
Yes.
stay awake, but that energy.
That energy,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
extra
the
boost.
Extra boost, like
Yes.
performing like a superhuman.
Yes.
That is a bit difficult without Red Bull for me. But still, also, I mean, I might be able to sleep very peacefully tonight. Still recovering through jet lag. How have you have recovered through jet lag?
Yes. Frankly speaking, I did not suffer from jet lag that much.
Okay.
Like
That's
because
good.
when like we came after training to US,
Right.
jet lag was really a thing. But this time I did not feel like a jet lag. It was just 1 hour of my like sleeping.
That's
like 1 hour
surprising.
of my bedtime, because I think the flights which I took
Right.
were placed at a time, and I had layover when it was like night time in India, and I
Okay.
did not sleep on the layover.
Okay.
Like 4 to
Okay.
5 hour of layover.
Yeah. So my flight was direct flight,
Okay.
and so the other day I was reading a book on sleep. Okay. And whenever you travel from west to east, like US is a western
Yes,
country,
yes,
Canada
yes.
is a western country, and India is a eastern country, right? The jet lag is more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because the circadian clock that we have, okay, is more than 24 hours. Okay.
Yes. Effective.
So
Hmm,
it's
hmm,
it's
hmm, hmm.
easier to sleep a
Correct.
bit later than your usual time. That's why many people stay awake in the night for too long, because it's easier to stay awake for longer than sleeping earlier.
Correct.
Right. So as I got back, yeah, I lost 1 day, and that
That
1
was-
day was my birthday.
So you slept your whole birthday.
So I got back and slept whole day. Yeah. So I lost my birthday in this
Yes.
flight travel.
What is the effective way to cure a jet lag in minimum time?
That we need to ask Karan and
Correct.
Ruchi.
हाँ.
Okay.
हाँ,
Or-
ये
or-
questions उनके
yes.
लिए रखते हैं. हाँ.
Yeah.
We-
And we'll bring them on podcast.
Yes.
I don't really think they follow any schedule. Like if you are ULR pilot, ultra long range pilot, you are sentenced for life to not sleep at night. How does that sound? Harsh, right?
That's crazy. Yeah. The other day when I called you up on your
Yeah.
birthday and then you were sleeping.
Right.
So I messaged Karan and Karan had messaged me regarding something he wanted to know.
Mhm.
So I said, how do you manage every other day,
Yeah.
like doing all these ultra long range flights and then flying through the night and your sleep cycle has gone for a toss and you're in a jet lag all the time. So
Mhm.
like it was so difficult in the beginning. It was
Right.
so hard in the beginning, but now we just sleep whenever we feel like
Yeah,
sleeping.
I mean,
Whenever
there
we
is no specific time.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, the country that you go to might have a different time, right?
Right.
Even if we speak about US, okay, if you are going to New York, then that is a different time than going to state of Washington,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
Correct.
Like 4 hours difference,
Mhm.
okay? And then you switch the clock, day is night, night is day when you come back to India, right? And then again 3 days you again go to that schedule.
My God.
So
that's
you
crazy.
can never actually adapt to any schedule.
Yeah, it's like working 24/7 on standby.
Yeah, whenever you feel sleepy, just
You
sleep.
go to
Make
sleep.
sure that you are well rested before the flight.
The flight.
But I mean, we are Capt.Neha might be able to speak a bit about it, but we cannot say things much about it. To cure the jet lag, yeah, we'll speak about that with Karan and Ruchi
Ruchi.
in probably coming podcasts.
Yes.
Subscribe, guys, please subscribe.
Yes,
And yeah, that like button, amazing. It looks like this. Just press, it will blink. Yeah, that would make us happy. Thank you.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
Yeah, and so these are the trade-offs that pilots accept while they choose to become a pilot, right?
Correct.
Now tomorrow, if you start flying a long haul ever, okay, like if you plan on to, I know that you're very happy with A320 and love Airbus A320 and everything. But if in case in future, yeah, that will be your schedule, right? Like,
Yeah, to accept and to be mentally prepared
Yeah.
for that schedule, I am dreading for it. You
Right.
know, like it's so challenging.
But
as a-
relatively, you do lesser flights.
yes, of course.
So
That's true. That's true. The thing is, now when I was thinking back then how to stay awake the whole night,
Right.
that is such a challenge. Like now also, if to stay awake the whole night
right,
for a red eye flight,
Right.
that is, I feel, yes, I have to prepare a day prior
right,
to get to that schedule and to stay awake, because we don't fly long haul flights wherein after in a cruise that we have controlled rest.
Uh-huh.
So we need to, like if you're doing Delhi back at night, if it is international more than 3 hours, we
Correct.
have that
We
also,
need to
but then-
do a whole podcast on sleep, like how
Yes.
important is
Yes,
sleep
yes,
and
correct.
schedule is
Correct.
for pilots, because sleep is one of the most important things.
Correct,
Like
correct.
one can go without food for 3 days. I can go without food for 3 days. Like
Oh
I
my God.
eat only once in a day. So yeah, it's I mean, I've even tried for 48 hours without any problem. One can go without food for about 3 days. One can go without water probably for about a day or a day and a half. Maybe it would be difficult, but
Yes,
maybe
but it's-
can
yeah.
it's doable, right? But
But sleep.
sleep,
Yeah.
if
True.
someone goes for 72 hours of without sleep, 72 hours
Mm.
without sleep, there is a permanent brain damage.
Oh.
There is a part of memory that is permanently lost.
My
And
God.
the reason that we are talking, like I brought up this topic, was as students, okay, as us, okay, like as students, if you are an aspiring pilot, you need to retain a lot of information, not
Yes,
just
yes,
for today,
definitely.
not just for this week, not just until the DGCA exams, but for rest of the life. Anything that you learn now, okay, you need to be able to retain that information for rest of the pilot
Correct,
career,
Yes.
Definitely.
right? Because what we learn today might be asked about tomorrow, might be asked in the DGCA exams.
Yeah, it's not about asking, it's about applying as well. So in
Right.
flight you have
Definitely.
emergency,
Correct.
right? So you have to use that knowledge. That's
Yeah.
why you are studying, and
Correct.
that's why you remember everything.
Correct. And that is what separates aviation. The theoretical studies that
Correct,
we
correct,
do
correct.
in aviation are actually applied in real
Yes.
flying, right? So when we went to Canada and started studying for their
Yes.
basically differences from FA to Canadian.
Correct.
So Canada is very much of a northern country, right? So it spreads from about 45-50 degrees north of latitude all the way to the poles, right? So that being part of their country, they have more of the polar navigation into their studies,
Correct.
right?
Because the compass is
Yeah,
ineffective
yeah,
at the higher
yeah.
latitudes
So
because of higher dip.
yeah, there was just a hint of it in DGCA exams, okay?
Correct.
Just
correct,
a bit,
Correct.
but there that is also focused upon, right?
Correct.
Yes.
So I remembered that, okay, we had studied this in DGCA exams, and people who fly
Yes.
there, like Karan Ruchi, they fly over North Pole all the time, right?
Yes.
So that
they
is
use
Grid
that thing.
navigation.
Yeah.
Polar
Grid
navigation. Yeah.
Yes.
Grid navigation. So we'll go over this whole sleep topic and everything, and getting back to the topic of
Yesterday I landed at 2 o'clock,
Right.
and then by the time I reached home, it was 3. So you can see I'm dazed a bit today.
right, right.
Yes, yes.
By the
And
time
despite of that, that does not mean that we do not love to fly. We love to fly.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And that compromise we have accepted. Okay. So as a pilot career is attractive, okay. Yeah, it also is demanding, right? Yeah, that's
comes with all these
yeah.
Yes.
cons.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I
Why?
mean,
Why you think? Go ahead.
yeah,
Yeah.
don't ask us.
Go ahead.
No, I was like the glamour and the perks with which
Yeah.
the pilot career
Yeah.
is seen as, right? Okay, there are downsides
Right.
of it as well, and
Right.
like not having a schedule,
Clear.
it's kind of a downside
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
Like you don't be at your home at the
Correct.
same time.
Correct.
And on the days like Saturday,
Correct.
Sunday,
Correct.
you might be flying somewhere.
Definitely. I
Yeah.
mean, definitely.
Yes, of
Like the
course.
major one.
Yeah, because when we are like 17, 18, we don't actually understand the importance of a schedule and sleep and all of those
Yes,
things, because
yes.
energy is high, right?
Correct,
Extremely high.
Correct.
And you would not mind going without sleep for a day or two when you're 17, 18. You're
Correct,
like,
correct,
all right, yeah,
I
I
can manage."
did this
Right,
last
right,
night, and
right.
then morning I'm showing up.
Yes.
Look at me. That's a flex in teenage, right?
Yes,
Right.
I mean they consider it cool. Like
Yeah,
if you can
yeah,
party
it's-
all night, it's
yeah.
considered cool.
Yeah, but then when you become more informed, okay, like if someone is told that this part of your body is damaged and in this lifetime you won't ever get it back, right?
That's like losing something permanent.
Yeah,
Like what?
Like the memory. You said,
Huh,
like,
because of
not
the
only
not
memory
sleeping.
but brain cells die.
oh,
So, matter of the fact, Guinness Book won't give a Guinness award for going without sleep for the longest time because of the life threat that it imposes.
oh,
Okay.
You can do a skydive, okay? You can jump from 60,000 feet without parachute, and Guinness Book would still note it down.
okay.
So that is considered to be less risky than going without sleep.
My God, that's
So that
crazy.
is the
Yes.
importance of
So we
sleep.
should discuss about sleep
Yeah.
in detail in our
Yeah.
next podcast,
Yeah.
so that all the aspiring pilots, all the students who are watching this podcast should know the importance
Yeah.
of
Correct,
sleep.
correct,
Yeah.
correct.
We'll go over that, and basically we'll probably go over this topic of sleep with some ULR pilot, right?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
that will be.
So coming
yes.
to the, please subscribe.
Like,
Yes,
share, and
definitely.
subscribe. And yeah, that's it for today, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but I feel recharged now. So that's about it. Okay, next podcast, if we could match the timings of Capt.Neha and some some of our friends who are ULR pilots.
Yeah,
ULR
so they
is
fly the Boeing 777.
yeah,
Yes.
ultra long range pilots. Okay, they'll soon be on the podcast. Okay,
Definitely. Very soon.
we are looking to have some other guests too on this podcast as well. Let's see. I mean, who can we match timings with? I mean, me and Winged Engineer, we can adjust timings right now, but Capt.Neha and the guests, they have their own schedules. Me and Chintan, we also do have schedules, but ours are relatively flexible because we are not flying right now, right? Anyway, that's about today's
Yes,
episode,
and
right?
If you are new to this episode, if you're watching this episode for the first time, please do consider subscribing and do check out our previous episodes as well. And thank you for watching this podcast. We'll see you soon in the next one.
It was
Thank you
awesome
for-
having you. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching this podcast. It was great to have you today, and we'll see you in the next one with more exciting stories from our close friends. Thank you.